Grip between these tires and the stock tires is night and day, as expected. I mean, I've gone through everything in two-wheel drive so far, and there's some pretty sloppy stuff here. And as you can see, there's hardly any wheel spin whatsoever. So like these ruts, you know, I'm hitting the center of them where no one's tore them up yet. And it's just black, slick mud. And, oh, we might need four-wheel drive for the first time. As you can see, it's pulling both tires though, which is excellent. Four-wheel high. Oh, we might be a little stuck it. Let's go to low range. Well, the good news is it is turning all four tires. The bad news is that I am stuck. Here's one thing to try. So, four-wheel low can actually turn off the traction control. It's the first time I've been stuck enough to figure it out. I don't think I can. I think there's just one setting in four-wheel low. And you can hear that it's using the brakes to try to keep both front wheels turning. That's to the floor. Interesting. Seems to be doing an okay job. I'd like the ability to turn that off though. I went into it in two-wheel drive, and by the time I put it in four-wheel drive, the back end had already kind of dug itself a hole. But not super impressive. I kind of would expect to be able to get out of this. Ugh. There's a nice little tree to hook the old come along up to. We'll have her out in no time. Go to four-wheel high, roll up the windows, turn off the traction control, and I'm just gonna lock it in first gear, four-wheel high, and put it to the floor. And with traction control off, I should have full power. That's what you needed. We were out. So that was annoying. In four-wheel low, I couldn't do that because you can't turn off traction control completely in four-wheel low, and the brake LSD was limiting my wheel speed. But put in four-wheel high, put it to the floor, you can see she ate and dug herself out of there. Pretty interesting. Tires are very aggressive, but in that sticky mud, did require a little bit of wheel speed to clean out. All right, long story short, for those of you that don't want to watch this whole yappy video, I put 295 by 70 by 17 Cooper Discoverer SST Pros on my Gladiator. They fit perfect on the factory Gladiator wheels. These are actually Rubicon wheels, and this is the max toe. The really nice tire. I've tested them out at Holopal. The sidewalls flex good even at 30 psi. A little bit of road noise, but not too bad. Gas mileage will go down. Obviously, they're a little heavy, but they fit and clear great, and I really like them. And here's all the details. Guys, so these are the Cooper SST Pro Discoverer tires. Did a bunch of research, decided to go with these in the Jeep, mainly because they have really good tread spacing. They're reviewed really well. They have the highest tread depth of pretty much any tire, and that I looked at. And they're pretty light for the size and width. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully get them mounted up today. If FedEx brings me the other two tires, which are scheduled to be delivered today, but you know how FedEx is with tires. I do like the rubber compound on them. Pretty soft for a street tire. Fortunately, they are D rated, which I don't need on a little tiny, mid-sized Jeep Gladiator, but whatever. Let's throw them on the scale and see how true the manufacturer's website was. Of course, scale goes to sleep right before you get the tire on it. Typical. So, balance on the scale, 65.5 pounds. To check my spreadsheet, but I know it's in the ballpark of what they said they weighed. I will put a screenshot of the spreadsheet at the end of this video with all the tires I researched. Of course, I did my research just like with everything else I do. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be noisy. They got big tread spacing, but they're probably going to pull about as good as the TSL, and from what I read, these things balance really well. Tires that are this aggressive a lot of times are hard to get balanced
require a ton of wheel weights, and that's not good. So I went with one that a lot of people have had really good success with. My other favorite tire, of course, is the Goodyear Wrangler MTR Kevlar. Also has giant tread spacing. This one's obviously worn down. It's this weird asymmetric pattern. This one's actually still got a lot of tread life on it, and it's been around, right? Didn't go with them again because on the Jeep, partially because of weight. These are a little heavier, and partially just because of reviews. I've read that these are a little better on the street, but there's a tread comparison side by side between the, these are kind of an old school tire, and these are a little more recent, but they should do well. They're a whole lot taller already, but they're going to be a big difference in width, height, and tread. And this Jeep does have the 410 gears, as you can tell by this little plastic thing right here. It's the max tow, so I expect to be able to turn them pretty well. Yes, it's going to affect gas mileage. Yes, they're going to be noisy. That's why I'm going to have 2 sets of wheels and tires, but they're going to look great, and they'll be excellent for the kind of riding I do. Huge fan of this tread spacing, the way it goes 1, 2, 1, 2. The center of the tire is actually going to pull. A lot of these mud trains, only the edges pull. Good sidewall wrap. Sidewalls are super thick. Beats look very nice. So it's a little heavier than I expected. It's about 3 pounds heavier. It's heavier than the Milestar Patagonias, which I could have got for $100 less a tire, but it's only money, and this is a better tire. It's got better tread spacing. It's got a flatter profile, and it's the highest reviewed tire I could find, and it's got the most depth. I could have got those Wranglers on that truck. They would have been about the same weight, about the same price, but I think these have a more open tread pattern, and those never really rode very good, and they got flat spotted quick. 55.8 pounds tire and wheel. This is why big tires slow your Jeep down so much. 55.8 tire and wheel. 290 by 75 by 17 SST Pros on Rubicon wheels. 88.9 pounds. A lot heavier. Right, so there's all the way to the right. All looks pretty good. How close is it to the control arm? That's the question. Oh, plenty of clearance. So that's stock offset with a wider tire. Mint. That's good. 8-track for the win. So plenty of clearance here. Let's see where the bump stop's at right now. We're not quite on the bump stop yet, I think. Hard to tell because it's so freaking bright out here. Close to the bump stop though. Okay, turn it full left. It's pretty good. Plenty of clearance, really. These are like 33.5s. I've got on the front right here, and these stock ones are like 32s. They're really a little shorter than that, these Bridgestones. The factory sport wheels look a lot different than the factory Rubicon wheels. However, I just measured the back spacing and the width and everything like that, and they're exactly the same wheel, dimension wise. So that's why I'm clearing them so well with no lift or anything. It's because it's factory offset, and this is the wider axle because it's the max toe. But if you read them, they're both stamped 17 by 7.5, back spacing 44.45. If you measure them, this one seems a little bit wider. The reason is that this is a much stronger wheel, so this lip is thicker, right? Because this is a more off-roady wheel. You see how this lip's like a hard 90, it's a little thinner. So that wheel actually looks wider, but as far as the geometry that affects how the tire mounts on the wheel, these wheels are identical. Finally decided to bring my last 2 tires, so I got all 4 mounted up by hand, like a man. And they're all mounted up there, it looks good. Overall, I got just under 3 inches more clearance under the transfer case, which is what I was going for. That's tires and Rubicon front springs. Once I do the back springs, it'll be a little bit more, 3/4 inch higher in the rear. And all the angles are factory, pretty much. I mean, you know, factory Rubicon right now anyways. And these tires are a little bit taller than the factory Rubicon, almost an inch taller. It's tucked up in there pretty good. Plenty of clearance everywhere there. My hand back here. Plenty of clearance on the inside. Oh, bump stop is touching. Excellent. Plenty of clearance everywhere, not even close. Oh, that's the perfect size tire. Outstanding. And that is on the bump stop. Yeah, even with the bushing, stretch, and deflection, it ain't gonna rub nowhere. You can see that the gas mileage is severely decreased due to the width, the weight, the rolling resistance, and the increase in gear ratio from these tires. At this speed before, I would expect to be getting, you see my average is 19.2. So I'd expect to be getting a little bit better gas mileage. Obviously, I'm going not 75, I'm going 79 on my GPS, what do you call it, radar detector. So this is my 80 mile an hour speed. My speedometer is inaccurate now because my tires are oversized, which is an obvious thing. My tire pressure monitor light is on because these wheels don't have TPMS. So I need to find a way to turn that off for when I'm running this set of tires. But I'm taking out the Olapaw to go test out the new shocks and the new tires. Miles per gallon, pretty steady the entire time I've been talking at 80 miles an hour. So not real thrilled about that, which is why I didn't buy a Gladiator Rubicon, and now I have a second set of tires. So for daily driving, I'll be running my stock tires on here, and I'll be getting 19-20 at this speed. So that is a huge benefit. Interesting, I dropped the speed down to 70 miles an hour, 66 indicated here, 70 on the GPS. And you see I'm up to 18 miles per gallon, 17. It's probably gonna bounce between 17 and 18. So that's a pretty big difference with just